Okay, I'm going to show you some more adjustments using the same image that we've been working with. Down here in your new layer adjustments, you'll see below your value adjustments you have a number of different color adjustments. And I know that there was a demo I posted on using levels to color balance, but I'm going to go ahead and show you a few other ways to color balance. So here using color balance, which is an actual option within your layer adjustments, you'll see that you can work with highlights, midtones, and shadows. Now, to get the full effect, you need to work with all three. So highlights, what I'm going to do is look in the areas I think should be white, and I'm going to just slide the slider until I think I'm tinting the whites to blue. And you can also slide it left and see when it's too yellow. So I'm looking up here in the sky, and it's already started yellow, so I know I have to go blue to some degree, but I don't want everything to start looking blue and purple. So I'm going to go a little too far and then just take it back and stop. Same thing. When does it all turn green versus red? You can look at overall tinting if it's hard to tell in the whites. So I always take it a little too far and then go back. When is everything looking red? Pretty quick. When is it all looking cyan, which is like a blue-green? Maybe something like that. Okay, go to your midtones. If you have a middle tone gray, maybe somewhere in here, you want to go for as neutral of a gray as possible. Otherwise, look for overall tinting again. So when is everything looking a little blue or purple? And when is it all looking more yellow? And then just go a little between those. So take it too far when it's all tinting, and then too far when it's all tinting, and then just go right between. Again, red, all turns red fairly quickly, or cyan. Okay, so take a little too far and then just go back. Okay, shadows are usually the most subtle adjustment. So look where you have blacks and try to make them the blackest black. And usually these adjustments will all kind of go a similar direction that they did in midtones and highlights. So I'm looking at my blacks, I'm also kind of looking at overall tinting. And you'll see here's before, after. So I'm kind of pulling out the variety of color again in the image. So I was just doing it by eye, and it's a little more in depth than the first level's color adjustment, and probably less in depth than the very detailed one that I posted by Raphael Lowe. Okay, more color edits. Down here we have vibrance. Vibrance deals with the amount of color just in the midtones. So you'll see if I turn it up, the amount of color in your midtones is greater. If I turn it down, it's getting closer to black and white, but it's not black and white. Okay, whereas saturation is overall color, so it can get kind of gaudy if you do overall color and make it too high. And it's grayscale when I go all the way down. There's better ways of turning image to black and white that I'll get to in a moment. So I'll go ahead and just boost some of the midtones, maybe a little saturation too. Okay. Hue saturation. Okay, so saturation again, same thing as the overall amount of color in the image. This also has lightness and darkness, which is overall lightness and darkness. I usually don't use these here because we already did value adjustments. Hue is actually the tinting of the image. So you'll see you can work with the overall colors, and I'm sliding along this rainbow and it's changing the overall colors. Now kind of cool things you can do is you can also just work with individual colors. So maybe I just want the greens to change color. And so Photoshop's fairly smart and can work with just the greens if I wanted to do that. And then these ones actually, where I just clicked in here, these are preset things you can do to the image. So maybe I want the whole thing sepia, like a faded photo. So you can find that in here. You can also just boost certain colors, and it'll do it automatically for you, like that. I'll just leave it on one of those. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and show you black and white, and I can show you color lookup and channel mixer in another demo. Here's black and white. Okay, so this will automatically turn your image to black and white, and you'll see you still have colors in here. But what that's doing is allowing you to adjust these colors separately. And so I like using this more than just desaturating the image, because it allows me to customize the way my image turns black and white. Now if you do it too funky, where the colors right next to each other in the image are, you adjust them very differently, you're going to get some weird noise and grain in the image. So it's a fine line. You can kind of emphasize contrast this way, but you can also make it look really gaudy and weird. I'm going to go ahead and show you another color adjustment. Let me first take the visibility on my black and white off. This one's actually found at the very bottom, which has a few more funky adjustments, and this one's called selective color. Okay, and when you go into selective color, you can again work with colors separately, like you did in black and white. However, this is really smart. It's telling Photoshop right now to only work with the reds. I'm going to always start with the neutrals. That's what I like to do. That means your grays, your browns, anything that's kind of a middle color. Okay, and you're saying this is going to affect the largest area of your photo. So I'm going to try to do this and try to bring out the variety of colors even more. So I'm going to try not to tint it. So this one's probably going to be my most subtle. So if I'm noticing everything getting tinted, I'm going to stop. Now I also have this set on relative, which means if I were to change all of these to the same degree, like +4, really nothing would actually be changing. They're working relative to each other. So I'm just looking at this image while I'm adjusting these. And then I'm going to go through all the colors present in the photo. Now reds, yellows, and oranges are probably going to be in a lot of the same areas. Sometimes colors have more than one color in them, so keep that in mind. So a lot of these same leaves I just worked with are going to be adjusted with yellow. So how much blue, green, cyan is in my yellows? That's what I'm telling it right now. How much magenta. So I'm trying to kind of emphasize each color. Okay, greens. How much cyan? I want that kind of spring green. So I'll say more cyan, maybe less magenta. More yellow and more black. How much cyan in cyan. It's making those grays kind of blue, but I kind of like it, so I'm going to emphasize it more. Magenta will make it more blue than cyan. Maybe I'll give it a little bit. Yellow will make it kind of more green. And black will darken it or lighten it. Okay. Blues. So you'll see mostly in the shadows, again I have my blues. So I'm trying to keep it kind of gray. Okay, magentas. Are there any magentas? Looks like in the tree there's some. So let's go ahead and let that show. So take some of the cyan out of the magentas. Add more magenta to them. Make them more red or pink depending on how much yellow's in there. And I'll take out some of the black. Okay, whites. I'm going to make my whites more white, so I'm just going to slide my blacks back. And I did neutrals, so I'll just do blacks. Blacks look pretty black already, I think. But I'll just boost them a little. So watch the difference here. Before, after. So it's just emphasizing each of those colors a little bit more. Okay.